Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're taking a look at a trainer who hit legend with a truly absurd team in the Open Ultra League. Now most of the time, when you're looking to team build, you're looking to try and build a balanced team with Pokemon that cover each other's weaknesses. Well, this trainer just hit legend with triple electric in the Ultra League. They're leading Shadow Zapdos with a Shadow Electivire and a Shadow Magnezone in the back, employing an overload strategy to try and help these electric types even overcome their counters. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches. Off to a pretty nice start in game number 1 as triple electric is going to lead into a Lapras. One Thunder Shock from the Zapdos, a safe switch into Electivire, but due to the energy head start that was given to that Lapras now outpaces and is able to grab an early shield with Sparkling Aria. Electivire farm it up, going for the Wild Charge, but a sensational catch from the opponent. They're going to catch the Wild Charge onto Virizion, and on top of that, they actually sneak a double kick for free as well. Electivire now going to fire off Ice Punch, but that's not going to be a problem for this Virizion, and Virizion is going to be able to neutralize Electivire. This will set up pretty nice farm for the Zapdos. Thundershock, of course, is going to be resisted, and Virizion barely hanging on there, withstanding those resisted Thundershocks to make one final charge attack. We will see Zapdos exiting with a move. In comes Lapras. Lapras going to be immediately met with a Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt is going to be shielded, and now in comes Shadow Magnezone. Shadow Magnezone, these Volt switches are adding up quite a bit. Magnezone opting to no shield the Sparkling Aria, and it loses so much HP. The opponent is going to be firing off another charge attack, but Magnezone is continuing to farm. Magnezone looking for the farm down here. Lapras does not get the move. In the back is a Drifblim, but with the Wild Charge defense drop, this Astonish will knock out opponent, calls the Mirror Shot bait, and they end up losing the game. The opponent tried to make the prediction that it had to be a Mirror Shot thrown, otherwise the Astonish would KO. But this Magnezone is not running that move, so Magnezone lands the Wild Charge through the shield and takes the game 1 win. In game number 2, an absolutely dominant lead here. Shadow Zapdos into the Golisopod. Golisopod, of course, is going to be at a pacing disadvantage here. And now we will see Zapdos able to fire off this Drill Peck and only 4 Thundershocks to the second, and forcing the final shield from the opponent. I really like the decision to no shield here. With 2 Shadows in the back, you're going to need the shields. In comes Electivire, unanswered by the opponent. They're going to stay in with Golisopod. Due to the one-turn switch there, Golisopod is able to outpace and force the final shield. In comes Galarian Weezing, and now we will see the Ice Punch launched by the Shadow Electivire. Ice Punch is going to land, unfortunately not at an Ice Punch plus a Wild Charge, and I imagine Sludge will knock out here. Oh, it doesn't! Shadow Electivire barely able to hang on. I love this undercharge. This is going to leave the Weezing low, and this will set up a farm down for the Shadow Magnezone. Shadow Magnezone is only running nuke charge moves, so it's going to want an energy head start here if it wants to outpace whatever's in the back. Opponent, they're thinking about it. They're going to send in Lapras. Magnezone farming up energy here. There's a switch into the Golisopod. Without the catch, there's no hope, and the opponent will resign the match. We move to the next match, and we see Shadow Zapdos against Shadow Galarian Weezing. We're now going to see an aggressive switch and an attempt at a Sludge catch onto Magnezone, but the incredibly aggressive play does not pay off, and now in comes Virizion. Virizion is going to get rocked by a Flash Cannon, but unfortunately, there's still a lot of energy available on that Weezing, and that's going to be a problem endgame. As, unfortunately, since the Sludge catch was not successful, everything else on the team would get absolutely destroyed by a Sludge if it lands. Shadow Zapdos can't get the farm down here. Another move reached by Virizion, and unfortunately for Zapdos, Zapdos has lost almost its entire HP pool. In comes the Weezing. Opponent knows they're going to lose CMP, so they will just go for the extra. Drill Peck is going to be shielded. There's Drill Peck number 2, and it looks like the opponent is just going to try and commit to a farm down. That's going to land. That's big damage. In comes Shadow Electivire, and Shadow Electivire will immediately have to go on the defensive. The opponent, just like that, in a split second, is able to remove both Protect Shields from the field of play. They actually go for a brutal swing there. Electivire trying for the farm down, but the very low health Weezing, it survives. It makes the Sludge, and now the Electivire is just too low. It's a Lapras in the back. If that farm down had happened, it would have been a win, but unfortunately now, there's just no health on the Electivire, no health on the Zapdos, and this game will be a loss. We move to the next match, leading Shadow Zapdos into yet another Galarian Weezing. This time it is going to be the regular Weezing. Regular Weezing, a lot less threatening with Sludge across the board. There's that catch attempt once again, unfortunately still not going to be successful. Weezing is going to be firing off energy here, going for the Brutal Swing. The next Brutal Swing will not be enough to knock out here, so we are going to see a no shield, but it's the Overheat! Oh no! And all that energy is lost on the Magnezone. That is absolutely catastrophic. And unfortunately, Magnezone pays a heavy price, and it's just one hit KO'd, it's gone. In comes the Zapdos. Zapdos gonna look to overfarm quite a bit. Opponent with a nice switch out and a catch onto Lapras. Lapras able to absorb that Drill Peck, no problem, but Lapras is so far behind in terms of energy. No baits here from the Zapdos, going straight for the Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt is going to be shielded. Now Zapdos only opting for a Drill Peck, hoping the opponent has lost count of energy here, but they have not. And now in comes Shadow Electivire. Electivire immediately met with a Sparkling Aria. A farm down could go a long way here. The Lapras does actually get farmed down. In the back, it's going to be a Jellicent. And Jellicent really not going to appreciate Shadow Electivire. Shadow Electivire going to unleash Wild Charge. Jellicent lets it go, and it does not survive. In comes the Weezing. Weezing immediately met with an Ice Punch bait. And if you're the Electivire now, you can just no shield, because Shadow Zapdos with a shield cannot lose. In comes the Shadow Zapdos. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. We've got some serious spice from the opponent in the next match. Shadow Zapdos is staring down Ultra League Enamorus. This trainer hit legend. They're just clearly looking to have some fun, but they make a sick catch, catching the Drill Peck onto their own Zapdos, where it is going to be resisted. Shift just gonna stay in here, fire off another Drill Peck. While it's resisted, it's still quite a lot of damage, as Zapdos is very frail. So Zapdos is gonna end up committing the shield. There's a switch and a catch onto Shadow Magnezone. Shadow Magnezone did catch the Drill Peck, so that works out very, very nicely. The opponent is now gonna be firing off energy. They do have enough for a Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt would inflict quite a lot of damage. Out comes a Talonflame, and that's immediately met with a Wild Charge. Wild Charge into the Talonflame is gonna be shielded. Unfortunately, the Incinerate does not knock out. Talonflame exits with a ton of energy. In comes the Zapdos, purely just to force the opponent to throw energy. And now it's all up to Electivire, but this is now a boosted Talonflame. Talonflame, these Incinerates doing so much damage. This is a range where Ice Punch can knock out, however, so you don't have to debuff yourself with a Wild Charge, and we are going to see a nice overfarm here by the Electivire. The move needs to land on the Enamorus. The Zapdos is incredibly low. In comes Enamorus. It is going to get knocked out by an Ice Punch, and this game will be a win, as now in comes the Zapdos, and Zapdos is getting farmed down. Picking up a nice lead in the next match, leading into a shiny Galarian Moltres. Opponent switches out, they're safe switching into the Shadow Drapion, and Drapion will be quickly met with a Drill Peck. The Drill Peck lands, opponent throws on alignment there, and that is going to cost them an entire free Volt Switch. Sneaks through. Crunch does huge damage. Even with the Snuck Volt Switch, it's not enough. We are going to see Magnezone just let itself get knocked out. This will, however, set up a pretty nice Thundershock farm down. So we're going to see the Zapdos hit the field looking for the farm down. Opponent pivots out aggressively into the Moltres. This is a surprise. Either they're very weak to electric in the back, or they're realizing that this could be triple electric, and they're just trying to throw the Moltres away. We will see the no shield by the Electivire, but Ancient Power is going to do so much damage here. Can the Electivire even get to 2? Oh, that Sucker Punch that snuck. I think the Electivire can live it on 1 HP. It'll be very, very close. Opponent will not risk it, and they're just going to let themselves get KO'd. In the back is Swampert. So the Swampert technically has a winning matchup into this entire team. They shield the Ice Punch, but whether they shielded it or not, I mean, there's just no way to beat the Zapdos. Zapdos farming up. There is the catch attempt from the opponent. And this battle is saying, if I never throw, you can never catch. So they farm past 100. There's the back-to-back Drill Pecks. And a triple electric team ran into a ground type and was still able to fight back and get the win. We move to the next match, Shadow Zapdos into Tinkaton. Now, Tinkaton is going to be an uncomfortable matchup for this entire team. Player Off is going to inflict massive damage onto Shadow Zapdos, and Bulldoze will absolutely shred the two Pokemon in the back. Tinkaton did also commit an early shield. The no shield from the Zapdos. Player Off is survivable, but it does so much damage, and now in comes Electivire. Electivire farming up quite a bit, playing to the CMP tie here. The fact that the opponent didn't throw the Bulldoze on 5 is pretty surprising. I guess maybe they are running Play Rough and Heavy Slam. We are going to see a shield. It is the Play Rough, so it looks like they are on double nuke. They send in Lapras, and here's the thing about Tinkaton teams. Tinkaton is almost always paired with water types because it can do basically nothing against Talonflame. The Wild Charge lands big damage, and Electivire more than happy to let itself go in exchange for the free Volt switch on the Magnezone. Magnezone now up energy, which is exactly where it wants to be. The opponent waiting down the switch timer. In comes Cradilly, and oh boy, Cradilly, I don't think they're ready for Flash Cannon, because Cradilly might say, okay, Mirror Shot, I can survive a Mirror Shot. The Rock Tomb debuff is going to get applied. Here's the Flash Cannon, and let's see, are they going to shield? They do not. They get absolutely rocked, and they concede the match. Tricky lead in the next match, leading Shadow Zapdos into Malamar. Malamar is just neutrally dominant in every format that it's allowed in. And against this team has 0 Pokemon that beat Malamar, so it's going to be a pretty difficult battle. We will see an early shield from the Zapdos. Zapdos does have a pacing advantage in this matchup, but look at the Psy Waves. This Zapdos is already at half HP. It's already at a similar HP to the Malamar, and the Malamar no shield in a charge attack. This Drill Peck is going to be shielded. Malamar, we're actually going to see a switch out into the Electivire as Malamar fires off its energy, so trying to save energy on the Zapdos. Electivire farming up, and I think you just fully sacrificed the Electivire. Could potentially consider going for a full farm down here with the Magnezone, but this is going to be a tough game to play out of because the Malamar has already put in so much work. In comes the Magnezone. Magnezone is able to get that farm down. Opponent, they're thinking about it, and they quit. Clearly, they were double weak to Electric in the back, and they just resign. Well, we get the Malamar lead once again in the next match. I was talking up Malamar as an incredibly powerful neutral Pokemon, which it is, but apparently their backline just had nothing for Electric. I like this play pattern better from the Zapdos. No shield to foul play, you should be able to make 2 Drill Pecks, and then you get a nice advantage. The opponent did actually end up shielding the first, so now we will see an immediate switch into the Electivire. Electivire unleashing Wild Charge, down goes Malamar, in comes Galarian Weezing, but even these Fairy Winds are not adding up very much. Weezing is going to strike first here, and they will fire off a Brutal Swing. The only way they can outpace is if they did go for the Brutal Swing. We're going to see a Charge Attack priority tie here with the Shadow Electivire. Electivire Shadow Wild Charge is going to land, and this is the easiest no shield ever. Because with a team like this, switch advantage doesn't really matter. It's all about just trying to play for an energy lead. It's going to be Golisopod as the final Pokemon. Golisopod firing off the Aqua Jet, and we will see a shield from the Magnezone. Magnezone will just need to build up to the back-to-back here, or in this instance, just look to fire off a Wild Charge and then pivot out into the Zapdos, because Zapdos should be able to get to that Drill Peck. It was pretty close to a move from earlier. Drill Peck is reached into the Golisopod, and it looks like the opponent may have just forced closed their app, as now suddenly the game is going to slow down. So Zapdos should be able to just farm down the rest of the Weezing and take that win. We move to the next game here. Shadow Zapdos leading into Golisopod. We saw Golisopod last game and it's back this game on the lead, but now we're going to see a switch out into Cobalion. Cobalion going to be chipped with a Drill Peck. Cobalion, a tricky Pokemon for this team to deal with. Drill Peck is going to be no shielded. Cobalion farms up a ton. Zapdos tried to go for the CMP tie, but just gave an entire free double kick to the Cobalion. At this amount of energy, I like the call to just throw away the Zapdos. The opponent did actually go for a Sacred Sword bait, and that gets punished with the no shield. Another no shield from the Zapdos. There's a Stone Edge, but all that energy from Cobalion went down the drain, and now Electivire is the one with an advantage in this matchup. Electivire going to shield up the Sacred Sword, just look to overfarm as much as possible. Can just go for the Ice Punch to pick up the knockout, since they've already taken so much damage. Ice Punch is going to KO Cobalion. There's a ton of energy available on the Electivire. In comes Weezing. Wild Charge into the Weezing is going to connect and deal big damage. In comes the Magnezone. Magnezone farming up. We will see Weezing firing off some energy here. Magnezone shields up. Unfortunately, does shield a Sludge. And back in comes the Golisopod. Golisopod going to go for the Aqua Jet. Aqua Jet's a great move. Magnezone is pretty frail, but not frail enough. The opponent needed that to knock out. It does not. Even the Claw that snuck through a -2 does not KO, and back-to-back Wild Charges are going to be game over for the Golisopod. There's the switch into Electivire, and Electivire gets the Thundershock down. And now the final game, trying to hit Legend, and it's a good lead to do so. Shadow Zapdos into Galarian Moltres. And the Moltres is staying in. Zapdos is going to go for a Drill Peck bait, trying to go for a CMP tie to the Ancient Power. That is going to get the shield. Opponent did not go for the CMP, but instead will undertap the move, and we will see the shield on the Ancient Power. Opponent now going to switch out into Drapion. Honestly, I would have preferred to see a Thunderbolt here, just really try and lock in some huge damage. The Drill Peck is going to connect, and from here, you just always let the Zapdos go. Again, the switch advantage, really unimportant with this particular team. In comes the Magnezone. These Volt Switches adding up quite a bit. Magnezone actually decides to protect itself. I was not going to be too surprised at a no shield on a crunch and a farm down to try and save the shield for Electivire, but it looks like Shift is going to try and sweep here with the Magnezone, and the fact that they send in a Registeel as their final Pokemon is really good news, as Registeel is taking so much damage from these Wild Charges. Unfortunately, not quite at 2 more Wild Charges here. We're now going to see the switch to the Shadow Electivire. Opponent sends in the Galarian Moltres, but Moltres, it just never had a chance. Electivire gets to outpace here, pick up the knockout with the Ice Punch. Registeel is forced to throw, and they can't win, because anytime Registeel throws a Focus Blast, it is at minimum 10 turns away from a move. The Focus Blast didn't even KO. So I don't know if they undercharged there. I'm not quite sure how bulky Ultra League Electivire is, but either way, this trainer is going to be able to claim the set, and against all odds, with a triple electric team, that is triple Shadow as well, they're going to be able to get the Legend rank. Here they are trying to catch the Lapras. 1 shake, 2 shake, 3 shakes, there we go. The Lapras is caught, and now getting to claim the Legend rank. What a cool team, and big congratulations to them. All in all, this team, it's a crazy one. I can't, in good conscience, recommend running a team like this if you're trying to hit Legend, because obviously if you run into a ground type, it's going to be a really difficult fight. But this trainer was able to make it happen. The funny thing was, in my Discord server, I had a few trainers in the 28 to 2900s range report that they had run into a Mad Lad running triple Shadow Electric and that they had lost. And I was thinking to myself, this clearly must be someone who's already hit Legend. They're just having fun with it. They're not really taking the Ultra League rotation too seriously. So to see this submission in the submission form of someone saying, no, I was actually climbing with this. This was my Legend team, absolutely blew my mind. So this submitter, you are an absolute mad lad. Big congratulations on Legend. And my goodness, I really liked the display in this particular video of a really nice understanding of an overload strategy. Switch advantage matters very little when you're going to have basically identical coverage on every mon. So in a lot of situations, since you're running very glassy mons trying to force CMB ties, wait for the right moment to switch in when your opponent doesn't have a lot of residual energy, and just trying to set up an energy advantage wherever possible really allowed this team to thrive. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is genuinely so appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.